If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
Well, it's kind of hard to argue anything other than Tom Brady is the GOAT. You see it on your screen. He now has more Super Bowls than any franchise in the entire National Football League. And bear in mind, during this past offseason, he signed with a team that hadn't been in the playoffs in 13 years and hadn't won a playoff game since a Super Bowl that was played in January of 2003.
Did you ever get a pick against Brady?
Of course not. Brady beat our butt like every time. We beat him one time, and it was one of the happiest moments of my regular season life. No. He was actually, I will give him this. I got an opportunity to talk to him my last year. We were in Washington. We were playing him. He was actually highly complimentary of me and Troy. But I will say this. The year Troy and I were both out was the year Anthony Smith guaranteed a win against the undefeated Patriots. He throws a touchdown, a bomb. He throws a long pass and runs 60 yards. Anthony Smith ended up being the guy beating a play, run 60 yards to stand in front of Anthony Smith and tell him about his guarantee. And when I saw that, it was like the realest moment to me, because I was like, here he is, this 6th-round pick, a guy from California, extremely classy, extremely distinguished, and he chose to run 60 yards he didn't have to tell somebody about keeping their mouth closed. And that's when I gained a lot of respect for the competitor Tom Brady was.
The dude is the GOAT, and if he wins another one, it'll stay the same.
The GOAT conversation is over. The GOAT conversation is settled. In my mind right now, I'm seeing Vince Carter after he dunked the ball in his dunk contest, and he goes, "It's over," because that's it. He's put it so far that he's put it so far away from anyone even challenging what he can do with this win. Let's think about what Tom Brady had to do to win this Super Bowl. Right? He's playing through a pandemic. He has no offseason. Some of his biggest targets and some of his biggest skill players are guys that came over with him throughout the offseason, even through the season with Antonio Brown. And you're asking him to learn a new offense, find a new place, be a leader in a new locker room. And Tom Brady does all of those things. And not only does he just get to the Super Bowl, but he plays extremely well. Tom Brady was not carried to the Lombardi Trophy. It was actually the other way. You think about Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, all of these people who were huge in this game, they aren't Tampa Bay Buccaneers if general manager Tom Brady doesn't get them there. They all came to play with the GOAT. Like Leonard Fournette said, I am going to tell my kids I played with Tom Brady.
He's the GOAT. He is the greatest football player to ever play. And I can tell my kids I play with that man, and I'm just blessed.
I'm not going to tell my kids I won a Lombardi. I'm not going to tell my kids I won a Super Bowl. I'm not going to tell my kids I scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl game. You know what I'm going to tell them? That Tom Brady was my teammate. That's his effect. That's who he is. He's the greatest organization of all time.
Toughest opposing quarterback to face?
Ghost or no ghost? I had to go with the greatest living American.
Yes.
And that's Tom Brady. I said what I said, and I do believe it, and it's true. But when this guy has an opportunity to set up and throw the ball to his receiver, there's nobody better at pinpointing guys out and making plays for his team. I mean, he's a field general, he's a winner, he's a competitor, and Tom Brady, he's given us some hard time.
Aaron is really, really good. He is a bad man, but a badder man is Tom Brady. He is a badder boy, Tom Brady.
You're so
I'm sorry. I'm not blasphemous. And yet,
You really are.
if we're being completely objective here about our friend Ryan Clark, I do think that yesterday Ryan backed into that call that this is the toughest quarterback to defend, because I think Ryan needed to make it good with Tom Brady. A little make-up call, because he'd been pretty hard on Brady, saying he sees ghosts in the pocket. And I think Ryan got a little cold feet about what's going to happen on November 3rd in Foxborough. Guess what? The Steelers have to go to Tom Brady's house. And so I think Ryan had one eye on November 3rd.
How well do you believe Tom Brady is playing right now?
This is the best Tom Brady's ever played. And what normally happens to great players is they don't just all of a sudden stop being great, right? But they can't be great as often. Tom Brady is as great as he ever was. And he's as great as he ever was as often as he ever was. He's dropping dimes down the sideline. He's still pushing the football down the field. He's able to locate any pass that he wants to locate, and he's doing it with poise in the pocket and directing traffic. I think about the fact that he's on his way to becoming, if he wins this, and maybe without winning this, the most accomplished and greatest quarterback of all time. The other thing I love about Tom Brady right now is Rob Gronkowski early on in the year, that was his huge receiver. That was his go-to guy.
Good point.
And then we've seen Antonio Brown become that guy as well. Well, neither of those guys played yesterday. And so what does he do? He goes to Mike Evans, which we thought initially was the reason he was going. He goes to Chris Godwin. Cameron Brate gets involved. Tom Brady is spreading the football around like he did in New England.
What happens if Tom Brady wins his 8th it sounds silly even to say it, his 8th Super Bowl ring?
Did you cut him out at a certain point? Did you think this was a weird game?
No.
No chance.
Absolutely not.
No.
It does not change the fact of what Tom Brady has accomplished. It does not make me look at him any differently as far as the player he is. I mean, it ain't going to change the way we feel about Tom Brady. We already think he's the greatest to ever do it. And all it's going to do is just add another notch to what greatness is. And we're going to start looking at these other quarterbacks who we think are extremely good and be like, but look how much better Tom Brady was. Look how much more Tom Brady did. Look how much better Tom Brady's teams were than everybody's team for over 2 decades. And I think that's all that Tom Brady is continuing to do.
So Sunday will mark Tom Brady's 25th playoff game since 2007. It'll only be the second time he's an underdog in that span. The other one was in 2013 against Peyton Manning in Denver. He's 3-3 in his playoff career as an underdog. Hasn't won a game like that since the 2006 postseason. Now, he's also been a favorite in 67 consecutive games overall.
Right.
So it is what do you make of Brady trying to play the underdog role here?
I don't feel sorry for him.
No.
Right? I'm definitely not buying into it. Michael Jordan was also an underdog on the road in Phoenix against Charles Barkley, and he dropped 55. Jalen Ramsey doesn't know about Tom Brady from 01 to 2017. All he knows is the 40-year-old dude standing across from him in the blue jersey. There is no fear on this Jacksonville Jaguars team, so that's why I think it's even more impressive that the New England Patriots were able to create enough offense to beat this very game, very talented, not afraid Jacksonville Jaguars.
RC tweeted, "I believe Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's had the greatest career at the most important position in the sport. With that in mind, I wonder if he would be the #1 overall pick if we put every player from the last 25 years in the same draft." Ryan Clark, explain that tweet.
Listen, when I look at Tom Brady and what he accomplished after this last Super Bowl, to me, he put the greatest of all time conversation out of reach. Even if Patrick Mahomes wins 4, wins 5, which I thought was all he would need to be in that conversation or overtake Tom Brady because of his talent, I don't think he can do it. To go to a new place, to be the GM of that team, to bring that team to a Super Bowl after they'd only won 1 in the history of their franchise.
Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe as I post a new Tom Brady video every day.